Set it up. All right, I'm Andy Cabral, and welcome to the Morning Buzz. I'm here with Coach Hathaway, Alan Peabody, and Jamie Gentera.
I like how I didn't
First name basis, not Coach Gentera.
Right, I didn't
not
get a
Mr.
coach.
Gentera.
I didn't get a mister. I got my
Jamie.
first name.
I figured you'd call him JT.
Yeah. Got to fix that, and
I'm sorry.
we'll edit it, cut it.
All right, so before we start on a list of topics, we were just talking prior to going on the air about spelling. So you guys have some work to do when you brainstorm these lists of what we're going to talk about for spelling. For those of you scoring at home, gambling is not spelled gambiling. What was the other one we caught, Gentera?
Tragedy had an I in it there.
Tragedy, no I in it.
That was probably me. I'm pretty terrible at spelling.
And then I was mentioning my spelling prowess being the 85 champ at TES. Name's still on the plaque down there. If anybody's walking through the lobby, you can check that out. But disappointingly, as I told these guys, I missed on label in the district spelling bee, which I was reminded is a 5-letter word, and I couldn't spell it right. Right? Like what a way to go out.
Who told you it was a 5-letter word? Who heckled?
I don't know. Some wise ass when I got back to school. Like, dude, you serious? That's a 5-letter word. I know.
I like how the difficulty of words at the age of 11 is
right.
Based on the length of the word.
Right. So, and that kid though, he got it all back when at recess one day he jumped off the top of the jungle gym into a snowbank, and he got stuck, and the bell rang, and we just all went back inside.
Redemption.
So Scott Barney, if you're at home, I hope you remember that. The teacher's like, "Where's Scott?" We're like, "I don't know." And then Owen, the janitor, found him in the snowbank, yelling and waving his arms.
Right. That's
So that was your payback for making fun of me for misspelling a 5-letter word. All right. Let's start with probably I think there's two pretty hot topics in the news here. One on both of them pretty serious. The first one is the Kobe Bryant tragedy. Kobe passing away with his young daughter and 7 other people in a helicopter crash. So, I don't know, thoughts on that, Mr. Gentera? Want to start over your way?
It's really sad. It's sad that when anyone loses their life, it's not a great thing. Kobe Bryant is a basketball icon. Despite how you feel about him, he really, I think, morphed the modern game. I know he has a lot of connections kind of throughout. It was interesting. I was driving into work a couple days ago, and I was listening to the OKC coach try to just talk to the press for a few minutes, and he kind of just broke down talking to the press, which isn't what you typically see out of a NBA basketball coach. They're typically pretty stoic, right. And he was legitimately just upset about having to tell his team about their friend passing away in a terrible way. And for a second, it really humanized the NBA. You see them as these people on such a high pedestal, but really at the end of the day, they're people, and they're affected by tragedies just the same way every other person is. And it's a really heartbreaking thing. It's as much as losing Kobe Bryant is rough, anytime we lose a young person, especially a rising star young person, who knows where she would have gone. She was incredible. His daughter was incredibly talented. And you get to see all the photos of her now. I didn't know. I'll be honest. I didn't know she existed until this. Yeah, but now that you start hearing about her story, you're like, oh no, what could have been?
Yeah, Al, you got anything you want to follow up with there? Alan Peabody, by the way, new to the Morning Buzz.
Yep, new guy. Sad, but I think people that even didn't follow basketball that much probably knew who he was and knew what he was about and stuff like that. But it's unfortunate, especially in a helicopter. That's rough.
It must have been a hairy couple of moments there when that happened. Anna, what about you?
It's very sad. Kobe was a big icon. I used to idolize him a lot. It's really sad to see him. And Gigi, she was a rising star. She was going to take his legacy. It's just sad to see him go. And the other 7 people that died too, including the pilot.
Right.
He was also, I learned today, he was also Kawhi Leonard's
Kawhi
pilot.
Leonard's pilot. Yep,
It's crazy.
I saw that as well
Small world.
last night, and definitely the reaction of a lot of the guys around the NBA. I saw Shaq on TNT the other night, broke down pretty good.
Doc Rivers.
Yeah, Doc Rivers. I don't know if you guys saw Elle Duncan, who's one of the female reporters on ESPN. Did one the other night. Pretty cool hashtag on Twitter going on right now. Hashtag girl dad. So fathers taking pictures with their daughters and posting them up. And so yeah, I know. I can. Growing up with young boys, I think every time they've thrown something into a trash can, they yell Kobe, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's like the impact goes
Right.
even beyond basketball. He is kind of an icon, and I know as a team, we talked a little bit about it Monday before the Mount Blue game, and somebody had posted a good one on Twitter is, if you're a high school player and you're playing tonight and you want to honor Kobe, go out and compete, because that's who. That's really Kobe's legacy, I think, in terms of a player. Is he's probably right there with Mike Jordan in terms of one of the most competitive players. Like, I'm going to get you every time. I was watching an interview with him, and he was talking about practice, which the Allen Iverson has the fame. Practice. Who wants to practice? And Kobe was saying that now, and I know we are victim to this too. Day after a game, it's a light day. Or we've got 3 practices in a row here before we play. That the day before the game is a light day, or whatever. And he said I don't know light day. Like when I played for Phil Jackson, there were no light days. He said in practice, the trash talking was more than it was in a game. The physicality was more than it was in a game. The level of competitiveness, he said, was more than it was in a game. Like. Because I just think he was about winning, and that's the kind of the way he operates. And I heard Jim Rome say on his radio show that day that a guy with that kind of ferocity, like that guy's not for everybody. Like there's a lot of people that don't like Kobe because he practices like that and plays like that. And I saw Paul Pierce last night on one of the shows as well, and he was talking about they were filming a commercial for Nike, and in the commercial, Pierce and Kobe were playing one-on-one. And it was supposed to be Kobe does his fadeaway, Pierce does his elbow pull-up, like kind of scripted out, like not.
Right.
And he said the first time I went to the rim, like Kobe poked it away and stole it from me. And he's like, next thing you know, we're playing like a full-out one-on-one game, like competitive, like get after it in front of this camera crew in a commercial. So, but yeah, certainly sad news on that front. And then we also have the coronavirus on our list to talk a little bit about today. I know I just mentioned to you guys that they have a cruise ship that's kind of been stopped, and they're holding everybody on the cruise ship, I think out in Rome or Italy, around that area right now. But it has creeped its way into the United States, right? So what are we thinking there? Annan, you want to start on that one?
I don't know. It's scary. I would not like to die to a virus, but I think I think we should be able to contain it, and it shouldn't be such a big deal. I mean, it is a big deal. A lot of people are dying in China and many other places, but I think soon we should be able to contain it, just like the Ebola virus a couple years ago. So, yeah.
Al?
It's scary. It's something like you almost don't think it's going to happen. It's one of those scary things you think about, like as a kid, like people start dying from being sick and stuff like that, and it's kind of getting scary that it's working its way closer.
And even some of the instances of the flu.
Yeah.
When people die from the flu, that makes it scary.
That curveballs me. When someone dies of the flu, I'm like, whoa, wait.
Right, like I've had the flu, like I don't want that to happen
I didn't get my flu.
to me.
Right. Well, no, that's the other thing. I typically don't get my flu shot.
I don't either.
I'm one of those guys that I've seen enough people get the flu shot, and I'm like, you just got the flu. Not too long after the flu shot.
Right.
Like, I'm on to the conspiracy, but it's not a conspiracy. You watch the news. Like, my beliefs shouldn't be your beliefs. But no, the coronavirus is it's hitting pretty hard. I think the pluses here is now that it's gotten now that the word's out that it was big time in China. Like it started out with like a couple hundred cases, and typically the biomedical world will wait and see if it fizzles out on its own. But now that it's gone to like into the thousands and cities are being quarantined, I know the big pharmaceutical companies are. One just was able to reproduce the virus, and once the virus is reproduced, they can make a vaccine and get better treatments, and things tend to get taken care of quickly. So you might get the corona vaccine here, you might see that in the next few months, which I'm sure will be.
The question is, do you get it though? Are you going to be just like your flu shot?
It depends. I guess the headlines are freaking me out enough.
My judge on that is always if they offer it free at the Leeds Medical Center. You know, like if they're saying like people need to come in and get this, and they're opening it up like after hours, I feel like that's a state of emergency. Like at that point,
Right.
Like I think that's the one time I remember going, like lining up on Churchill Road. You were probably there. Like when you were a lot younger, I remember lining up with the boys right up and down Churchill to get some shot of something because something was going around at the time.
Swine flu?
Yeah, I think that's
It may have been the swine flu.
Probably swine flu, yeah.
I think I do remember that.
Yeah. So
I hear it's coming from bat soup.
bat soup.
Yeah,
That's
bat
what-
and snakes.
That what?
Bat and snakes.
Snake soup?
Snake
Or
soup.
just
Yeah.
eating snakes? I feel like
The average American doesn't eat
well,
bats.
right. We do. We
But it has
typically
made
don't.
it to New Hampshire. You know,
Well, I mean, so there might be some weird
Some
people in New
there's people
Hampshire.
who would,
That's
too.
definitely, I can see that being a New Hampshire thing. If you're from New Hampshire, I
live free or
apologize.
die. They can do whatever they want.
Right, I'm
Right?
going to eat this bat. You can't stop me.
Oh man! All right, let's move on to some other topics here. Let's go to Mr. Gentera first. We have some important kind of track things coming up, right? With regional states,
Yeah. So,
KVACs.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So we have our last regular season meet tomorrow, and then next Saturday, the next two Saturday are the big championship meets, and we have the conference championship coming up, where the boys stand a really good shot at taking that title. The cool thing with track is we don't have film, but we have a lot of numbers, so you can look at everyone's you can kind of stack up the teams for the entire meet and score it before it kind of happens. It's not 100% sure, but you get an idea what
An analytics type approach, right?
Absolutely. Being a stats guy, I'm big into that. So, kind of crunching the numbers, we're kind of there. We're there within a few points. Yeah, knock on wood. We're in the zone. We're in striking distance of what it's been. And like the difference between us and the top team is about 3 points. Mr. Showmaker, like 3 points to win in Mr. Showmaker, and it doesn't. The analytics that the service that I'm using doesn't take into account Mr. Showmaker.
So he may be the difference.
He's worth 3
Difference
points.
There you
He's
go.
absolutely worth 3 points. Now anything can happen. We have to put up the numbers. Belfast has to put up their numbers.
Who are the contenders?
It's legitimately for the top, us and Belfast. There's a big, huge. It goes like 86 points, 80. Well, it goes 87, 86. And then the next big jump is Lincoln Academy, which is down to like 70. So there's that difference there. I mean, Lincoln Academy can show up if all those boys run their distance events. That's what their team does, is they run their distance events. They get a couple people here or there. They could squeak up. I've seen them do that before, but I have a feeling it's going to come down to Belfast and us, and it's going to be incredible. The cool thing about that, and also on the girls' side, we should be seeing some big things out of Aaliyah Trask and Margot Kenyon. Emma Couturier is going to throw in her as a freshman. She's going to throw in, I think, a couple big jumps there, maybe make it to the podium. But Margot and Aaliyah have a really good shot at hitting the podium, if not the top of the podium, in all three of their events. So we were just talking about like points, 70 being the third place point. Between Margot and Aaliyah, if everything were to go right, it'd be 60 points between the two of them.
Ooh.
So that's how the girls' team is a lot smaller than the boys, but they got some point density in those two.
There you go. So, Anna, you had a couple things basketball-wise you want to talk a little bit about. You want to go on those for a little?
All right, so the 1,000 points with Wyatt. What are your thoughts?
Boy, 1,000 points in your junior year doesn't happen real often, for one. I told somebody the other day, you can probably attribute a lot of that to the fact that we were so bad when he was a freshman.
Yeah.
That he was, he was kind of our, he and Josiah, started almost every game that year. So he's been able to rack up a few a little more earlier than some guys. But, obviously as his coach and his dad, I get to see a lot of the work that he puts in. And as much as he's in the gym and as much as he plays and as hard as he practices and and does that sort of stuff. Well deserved and probably fitting. It was on a free throw because he gets to the line.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. So,
If you could have a favorite Wyatt Hathaway point, what do you think it would be?
oh man, favorite Wyatt Hathaway point. I don't know. The half court shot he hit against Biddeford in that game was pretty cool. It was a little behind half court. I thought last year early in the season when we played Freiburg, he hit 3 consecutive what you would call a walk-up 3, where you basically just dribble up and pull it, and the third one was from just inside a half court. You remember that game? And it was against Tucker Buzzle, the good linebacker from Freiburg. So that was probably a cool one.
I was going to say, anytime he does that, that's my favorite Wyatt.
He would just like to walk up.
And you just recently had your 100th win too. So what are your thoughts about that too?
Yeah, it was way easier to get to 100 losses.
Right.
Like I think Al was giving me a hard time earlier about the overall record, which is still a little under 500. But I told the kids the other night, Cole, Wyatt, Keegan, and Josiah, those guys, in the last 3 years have won 32 games as starters.
Wow.
And so that's almost a third of those victories. And the 4 years before they were here, I think we were 8-46 or something foolish like that. So the 3 years before they were here. So certainly having good players is usually the recipe for being a good coach. But it's pretty good. I don't think many guys, if any guys, have won 100 games here as a basketball coach. And closing in on 150 in football might happen next year. To be able to get 150 in each would be kind of pretty neat. So, hopefully that can happen.
Talking about Zaya, he had a monster dunk, or a couple actually. Can you tell us about that?
The Mount Blue dunk was ridiculous. Fast break. Wyatt went in for a lay-in, laid it up a little too hard. Backboard, front rim, and it came right off. Zaya timed it up just perfect. Caught it up on Jake Farnham, who's a pretty good player, about 6'3", from Mount Blue, and I think he was about 6 feet from the hoop when he caught it, and then just kept going. I don't know how you do that. Like Al was there, you saw it live, right?
Yeah.
He just kind of kept going and then flushed it, and his leg was kind of draped over the shoulder.
It was like with the jetpack on. It was,
Right, the jetpack.
Right.
Yeah. He also leapt a human being in that game, didn't he? He just jumped over.
Yeah, a kid gave him a little shot fake, and he just jumped all the way over him. So
That's
I do
incredible.
remember that too.
yeah, and then he flushed one the other night at home against Westbrook.
Yeah.
So he's got I think 4 dunks on the year. So that's it's like Doug Nash territory back in the day.
Right.
Dougie had a few when he was a senior, but yeah, good stuff.
That must be a really defeating moment if you're a mediocre post player and then you got some kid just up you and down you in the ball. I don't know. Do you cower? Do you duck? Part of me, I think I would duck.
I always when I play against anybody who can dunk, I try to get out of the way.
Right.
I don't want to be involved in that. I don't like being dunked on very much. When I was in North Carolina and played a lot of pickup down there in college, you just you stay out near the 3-point line. Guys don't dunk from out there, so try to handle it that way. So some other things we got on our list here that some fun topics. We'll stick one more kind of in the, I guess, semi-sports world, the bocce guy. So we do have some bocce around here. We have unified bocce, right?
Oh,
Are you involved in that at all?
Yeah, I do sometimes.
Why don't you talk a little bit about the unified bocce, because that's a pretty cool thing.
Unified bocce, it's usually around springtime, like football season-ish, and we just go out.
That's fall, by the way, not spring.
by the way.
I meant fall, yeah.
That's all right,
I
though.
meant fall.
Way to know your seasons.
So
Must have had Gray for physical science.
You
Right?
the one who spelled all that?
probably.
Anyway, go ahead.
So we go out, we help out all the people, and we just play some bocce. It's pretty fun. Sometimes we'll do the reffing for them, and sometimes we'll be their partners and just help them out. It's a good time.
It's got to be a rewarding, just a rewarding experience to be able to get out there with some of those guys and have some fun and
Yeah, I
and do
always
that,
like
right?
helping them out. I'll go into the classroom sometimes. We'll have parties and stuff. It's a good time to see all the people. It's fun, especially when they're happy and then you're happy and you're helping out some people.
Yeah, cool. So then we have, I don't know if if the viewers here have seen it. Have you guys seen it? The bocce throw, epic bocce throw. You want to describe that, Gentura?
So this is, I think, professional. I would assume this is professional level bocce,
right? Which is an actual thing.
Yeah,
right.
One I did not know it was an actual thing.
I think they have professional cornhole too.
They do have professional cornhole. That personal goal.
Al, you look pretty excited there. Like you want to be on that tour. Maybe is that where you going?
The Cornhole Championships?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
good stuff. Those guys are money. Anyway, go ahead. Tell us about the shot.
That's one thing about the Cornhole Championship. When I saw it, I think I had the same feeling as Alan. Like I could be a pro athlete now. Like I don't know if I'm that good at cornhole right now, but that's something I could work to. Like,
right.
I'm never going to be an NBA basketball player.
Right.
But I think I could throw a beanbag into a hole. Like if I practice real hard.
Right.
But the bocce guy, I'm going to estimate, and I'm a bad estimator of distance, but I would say probably like 30, 40 feet.
Yeah, I would say watching the video. Yeah, I'd go with 30.
Yeah. So the guy takes the bocce ball and he rolls it, I think the objective. I don't know anything about bocce, so the objective is to hit this little white ball. That was his objective.
Is that correct?
Yeah, if you hit the white ball, you get 1 point.
Get 1 point for
Or it
him,
might be
little,
2 actually.
I feel like what this guy did deserves the game because that little white ball was surrounded by like 3 red balls with about I don't know, maybe 4 to 5 inches.
I think they actually said 6 on the video.
Okay,
they
6
measured
inches.
it. He said you got 6 inches.
And the ball probably is like 3 inches in diameter.
Yeah.
So about half that distance is ball. I think you're probably the game would go you probably hit some red ball out of the way to try to make it in between. Well, that guy parallel parked that ball in between the 2 red balls and hit the white one for 1 point. It was. Check out what I think if you Google epic bocce shot, you'll get a better sense of what it is. But it is.
And he played like a draw to get it in there. It wasn't like the 6-inch hole was not in front of the ball; it was beside the ball.
Right. It had to curve. It was like. It looked. If anyone's watched pro bowling again, the ESPN2, or the Ocho even, you'll see that bowling curve that the pros do. It was a lot like that.
Right.
So almost to the gutter and then sneaks in
Right
and hits the pocket. And that's what he did.
Do you guys think he was? Have you seen the new Sonata commercial? Do you think that his bocce ball maybe has Smart Pack in it?
Probably does.
Is that the best commercial or what? Have you guys seen that one?
It is.
With it's got Jim from the Office, right? John Krasinski and Rachel Dratch from Saturday Night Live.
Oh, really?
You haven't seen it?
I haven't seen this.
Oh, my God. It's the best. They all have the Boston accent going, and he's got the Sonata, the Smart Pack.
Smart Pack.
Can you pack that thing anywhere?
Were they pulling
Foxborough, yeah. Dorchester, yeah.
Were they pulling into a Dunkin'?
The Garden? Come on, kid.
Right. That's funny.
Speaking of commercials,
good stuff. Yeah.
there's Super Bowl commercials. Facebook, they're advertising come on, come watch my commercial, like it's a movie or something.
Really?
It'll be February 2nd, 2020. Come out, watch this commercial.
Here's a hot take. I feel like the internet has ruined Super Bowl commercials.
Super Bowl commercials. I would agree with that.
Because, as not the biggest football guy, the Super Bowl may be the one game I definitely watch all year. I'm not a follower of the sport, but I would look forward to the commercials
Right.
this, and it's this one time I'm going to see this Pepsi commercial. It's the one time you're going to see it. Now I don't have to watch the game. I don't even have to be there. I can watch them a week before and forever after.
Right.
And you don't even have to wait for the boring. Well, GoDaddy usually throws out a good one here and there, but you don't
Right.
even have to sift through the boring ones to see the gem.
Right.
On Facebook on Monday on Facebook there'll be the top
You'll be able to watch 'em.
top 10 Super Bowl commercials,
Yeah.
and they'll be right there.
Yep. All right, what else we got on our list here? We have Winter Carnival coming up in this building. Things you wished happened at Winter Carnival.
All right, so I'll tell a story. So last year, I was talking, I think it was to Gray, and I was like, you know what we should do for Winter Carnival? We should make a real-life Mario Kart. So those scooters?
Yeah.
We could roll around, grab balls, act like they're green shells. If you get hit by a ball, you got to spin around 2 times.
Oh.
And you have like it's like one of the relay ones.
Do you get balloons attached to you that you gotta pop?
Maybe. I didn't think about that.
I don't know how I feel about oil slicks on the gym floor. That would be good. It was suggested yesterday at lunch that maybe the faculty should put together relay teams this year.
Ooh.
Minus the wheelbarrow.
Minus Genturo, but they just don't
No, there might be like legitimately. I hope my wife doesn't watch this. If that happened, I'd be in.
I'd be
and
in.
My 3
Going
month-
against the doctor's advice.
going against the doctor's advice. That 3 month recovery clock would like restart. I'm doing a relay.
Right. I think we'd have to modify the wheelbarrow for us and put somebody just actually in a wheelbarrow and maybe wheel them. I don't think any of us should be out on our hands trying to walk forward.
No. No, there's a good workers' comp case like just waiting to happen.
Right. There was another one too that was the Orange Pass. They thought that that particular event's just a little too familiar.
No, I do not want to be doing the.
Yeah, I
Orange Pass.
don't want to be doing that either. But I don't know. Maybe we can throw something together. We've thrown an air band together the last couple.
Tug of war.
I think it's been pretty good. There have been some faculty tug of war teams in the past, but
I feel like that would be cool. Yeah.
like when Super Dave Allen was here, he was always in on that, and he, I mean,
Well, can we use like a long-term sub there? Because
I think we could.
Because I think, or at least just a substitute right now. Because I think
think that's
Coach
game
Parkin.
on.
Coach Parkin's been around. He could really help us.
Yes.
In the
Coach Parkin, nicknamed Drago in his football playing days at Levitt because he was built by the Russians.
right,
That's what we felt about him.
and Miss Dagon might not help us in like the adding weight to our end, but she's pretty strong. She's strong.
Pretty good relay too, right?
Yeah,
She'd be
yes.
good in the relays.
Yeah, very good in the relay.
Anything else you guys wish you would see, or anything you're looking forward to Winter Carnival wise?
The Mario Kart thing, though, I think I feel like the kibosh would get put on that quickly because the spinning reminds me of Dizzy Izzy.
Oh yeah, Cam Angel.
Dizzy Izzy. Do you guys know anything about Dizzy Izzy?
I have no idea.
So Dizzy Izzy, it used to be a relay event where you had like the 5 kids, but you had to run down to the other end, but instead of like putting on your shoe, you had to spin around on a like you get on
Baseball bat.
You spin around on a baseball bat, get you all dizzy.
Then you have to run back.
And you have to run back, and obviously running there, you'd go straight. Running back, it would be significantly less straight. You'd be
Right.
all over the place. Well, I think I graduated before this happened, but I think Cam Angel went into the crowd.
Into the crowd, yeah.
Quite a
Yeah,
bit
well,
of
the
damage,
thing
right?
was is he started going into the crowd, and then instead of like catching him, they moved, and he like landed in the bleachers. Because the freshmen are right there on the side. He was a freshman when it happened.
Oh no!
Yeah, so like, I think they lost a few points on sportsmanship, the seniors on that one.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know if they had to stitch him up. Maybe I'll have to ask him. He's in my 6 a.m. morning ball group, so maybe I'll ask him about that. And
I bet there was some stitches.
Yeah, I always look forward to the air bands. We'll get a reveal on the theme here pretty soon. We'll be coming out from student council, and we'll see. And I'm hoping the faculty maybe gets in again this year and puts together something good. I know we were kind of tossing around a few ideas and I'm not going to give anything away, but a few very quality ideas at lunch the other day that we might be able to pull off. So
Solid.
So we'll see. We kind of wrap up here. We got about 5 minutes left. We got a couple things left on our list here. Eminem dropped his new album.
Yeah.
Eminem fan, Al? Do you like Eminem?
I don't.
You don't?
I can't
No.
lie.
What are you, a country guy?
No, I'm
No.
not a country guy.
What are you? What do you listen to?
I'm more like Future, Young Boy, stuff like that.
All right.
Eminem
So
is-
you're in the rap game, just
I'm
not
in the rap
Eminem. He's
game.
too old school for you.
Too old. He talks too fast.
Talks too fast.
Talks too fast. Do you like? Is it more the mumble rap? That whoop? Is that what you're into?
Yeah, it sounds good.
I haven't listened to it, but I gotta say, like the real Slim Shady was a big track. That was a big track when I was in
Yeah.
high school. So it's interesting to see him coming back. Usually, when it's a big track, if I say it's a big track in high school, like that person probably should be done their career
Right.
by now.
Yeah, he's still going.
No, he's still going. You got to give him some like props for that, whether or not you're.
I'll admit, he's not bad. You know,
He's not bad, right.
For him to still be doing it, he's obviously going to be.
Right, and like Rap God, that came out a few years ago. Like, wasn't that a good one? Like, people
Yeah.
seem to like bump to Rap God.
What, you an Eminem guy?
I kind of like old Eminem. I'm more of an old Eminem guy, but the new album, I just didn't really like it. It didn't have like much quality material, like good music for me, kinda.
I have not listened to it. I don't mind Eminem.
We're giving some real hot
It's all
takes
right.
on this. I don't
I
think
know,
anyone's
like-
listened to it except for Andon, who's like, eh.
It
But
wasn't the best. I'll
Is
just
it the
say
best?
that.
All right. It's not in Slim Shady
No.
category. Not like his when he was working with Dr. Dre way back in the
Yeah.
day. Like nothing like that,
I
right?
do think one song did come on that I listened to until he actually came into it, and then I
And then
found
you.
out.
All right. I hope
Were
he's
they
not.
bubble wrapping up until was it like
I was like, oh, this is good.
I
oh,
was like, this is
and then
alright.
Slim Shady came in and he was like, oh
Ah.
no,
Start saying real words.
I can say word.
It's a good thing he's not watching today because I feel like he'd beat us up.
Yeah.
He would like right. There'd be someone like Big Rob or something that would show up.
Big
last podcast.
Last Supposed Media podcast.
All right, and I think the last topic we'll finish with this is your top 3 cereals.
Oof.
So breakfast cereal, top 3. I'm going to start with Andy Cabral. What do you got?
I gotta go with the classic for number 3, Lucky Charms.
Oh, Lucky Charms. They're magically delicious.
Yeah.
That's a really good cereal.
Number 2, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. No one can go wrong with Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Always good.
And this might be a hot take, but Captain Crunch berries, number 1.
Ooh, Captain
Had
Crunch
them this
berries.
morning. Love them.
Just the berries
No.
No, Captain Crunch with the berries,
With
right?
with the
berries.
berries. Okay, I was like, because they do make one with just berries.
Really?
And I was gonna call you a glutton. Like, come on, like, you gotta have like the.
It's like
brown-
when you eat the Lucky Charms, do you just eat the marshmallows or do you eat the whole thing?
No, I kind of like I like the little oats.
Yeah.
Pretty
you like
good.
the bran. Gotta have the.
I know back in the day, in the college days, they used to have Captain Crunch as one of the cereals in there with the berries. All right, Genturo, what are you going with?
I'm gonna go with Captain Crunch, Fruity Pebbles.
Oh, Fruity Pebbles.
It's like I don't eat. I'm gonna caveat that Fruity Pebbles not a breakfast food, but that is a dessert food.
Oh,
Like,
dessert
instead of a
food.
bowl of ice cream, a bowl of Fruity Pebbles.
Right.
It goes
Midnight
along-
snack.
That is the midnight snack of cereals. And then I'll give. You know what? Apple Jacks. I haven't had an
Apple
Apple Jack in a long time, but Apple Jacks is a top cereal. These are what I would mix. One thing when you get to college, if you go to college and when you get there, it's the cereal art that really takes you to a new level college student. So at the dining halls, you can mix those cereals, and what you can craft together can be a real masterpiece.
There you go. Al, what do you got?
I'll be honest, I hate the smell of cereal and milk, but if I had to choose, if I eat cereal, I usually go with my number 3 would probably be Cocoa Crisp,
Oh, that's a good one too.
because I'm a big chocolate guy. And then my second one, I'd have to do Raisin Bran, which
Wouldn't have guessed that.
Ooh.
Really? You wouldn't have guessed that?
No.
I'm not a big Raisin Bran guy.
Probably get a lot of hate for that. But,
Are you like 60?
That's what I was like,
absolutely.
are you worried about your iron levels? Like-
For some reason, the smell of cereal and milk, I just cannot.
yeah, but I feel like Raisin Bran makes the smell of cereal and milk worse. Like that's
No,
the
it's
you're eating the wrong cereal.
not bad. My number 1 though, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. If I gotta eat cereal, I'd do that.
Yeah, the Cinnamon Toast Crunch is good. I also like the Cocoa Krispies. Big fan of Honey Smacks.
Honey
Oh,
Smacks.
I love
Love
Honey
Honey Smacks. Delicious. But probably my number 1, which has been my go-to lately, Honey Nut Cheerios with chocolate milk.
Oh man.
Ooh.
That's why
Yeah.
I like the Cocoa Crisp.
Yeah.
It turns the milk.
Turns the milk dry. That's what I don't like about Fruity Pebbles is the milk afterwards.
It is.
It's kind of gross. Like, I look at it and I'm like, man, I just ate cereal that was in that. I'm
does.
not sure.
It does look
Sure,
like
that's good. I'm not sure Honey Nut Cheerios and chocolate milk is real good for you either, but
it definitely turns it into like what toilet bowl water and milk. Like,
I gotta
it's
say
like
that
you-
must be a pretty bad smell. The Honey Nut Cheerios.
I don't know. I eat it, it's so good. I eat it so fast. I don't know.
you know,
just
you're the
delicious.
first person I've ever heard who doesn't like the smell of
The smell of
cereal.
cereal.
For some reason, I don't know. I just hate it. It's just like it's that
I feel-
soggy
Okay,
smell.
last thing before we go. What's one of the most annoying smells that you remember from when you were younger? So you've got cereal. Something you just remember like, oh, like this smells. I remember one thing just thinking back on it. In elementary school when we got new social studies books and you opened them up, they had just a disgusting smell to them.
Oh man, I love
Like,
that smell.
Like it's not like new car smell. It's like new book smell. Like, oh, this is gross.
I love new book smell. Like my wife will buy new books, and I'm like, give me that real quick. It's weird. That's
But, like,
a weird thing for me.
I like the tennis ball smell. You ever done that one?
Yes,
Like when you
yeah.
open up the tennis balls. That's the bell. That cuts us off.
There you go.
Buzz Media signing off.